Reading with your kids.
Hey, so great to see you. Come on in. Hi, my name is Jedley, and this is the Reading with Your Kids podcast. We are coming to you today from the beautiful town of Remington in Indiana. We have a beautiful, beautiful show for you today. In fact, all of our shows are absolutely wonderful. We don't want you to miss a single one, so please be sure to subscribe to the show on the iHeartRadio app, on Google Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you find your podcast. Our guest today is the author of One Drop of Kindness. Today we meet Jeff Kubiak. Before we introduce you to Jeff, we do want to celebrate the fact that The Adventures of Klaus the Happy Schnauzer by Terry E. Gunn is our latest Reading with Your Kids certified great read. This is a wonderful picture book that follows the adventures of a schnauzer going through a fun-filled long day. It's a charming adventure story that can be a great repeating read aloud to help children fall asleep each night story. That was kind of a weird sentence. I like it, though. The author was inspired to write this book about her beloved dog named Klaus, whom she considered a great friend. Terry and her family spent many lovely years with Klaus before they lost him in 2015. This is a beautiful, beautiful tribute to her dog, Klaus, and also to the relationship that families can have with their dogs. The Adventures of Klaus the Happy Schnauzer by Terry E. Gunn. It's our latest Reading with Your Kids certified great read. Joining us on the line right now from Davis in the great state of California. He is the author of a really important book called One Drop of Kindness. Please welcome to the show, Jeff Kubiak. Jeff, how are you?
I am well. How about yourself?
I am doing pretty wonderful. It's Indian summertime here in New England, and after a couple of weeks of really uncomfortable, unseasonably cold weather, it's a beautiful day. And it will probably get real cold again real soon, so we're enjoying it while it's here.
Yeah, it was 92 today here, so I'm hearing you.
Excellent. So One Drop of Kindness, tell us all about it, please.
Well, it's a journey of a young boy named Gus, but it really started. I've been in a lot of schools and seen thousands of kids, and over the years, I believe that kindness is lacking, and it's something so simple. People talk about we need this, we need that, and to me, a lot comes back to we need kindness. I wasn't always very kind. I made a lot of mistakes, and I didn't always treat people kindly. And then I wasn't treated kindly, and I hated school, and kind of goes about all these things. And so I came up with a concept, and our friend Gus he was an abandoned baby and goes through a transformation, and we come to find out that kindness was always within him, and he just had to be reminded to look inside. And I think we all need that reminder once in a while.
Absolutely. You and I share something in that we speak to kids in schools around the country. And back, I think it was in 2003, I had been doing healthy choice shows in schools for probably 15 years or so. And a school came to me and said, we're implementing a new anti-bullying program. It was very, very early in that whole wave. And this is the program, and so we want you to help us kick off our efforts to create a bully-free school. So they sent me this, and it was really great. There was all this research that was done, and rules and choices that they wanted kids to make all around, creating a bully-free school. And that was great, but like a lot of things in education, people start tinkering with things, and so that initial program changed a little bit to this and to this, and as I was presenting these shows, one of the things that kept on going over and over in my mind is we're really kind of overthinking this thing. It really isn't all that difficult if we teach kids to be respectful, if we teach kids to be kind, then that kind of takes care of the anti-bullying stuff. You know, if you're being respectful and kind to others, you're not calling them names, you're not leaving them out, you're not, targeting them.
100%. You know, I think those two words are so important, you know, to bring up the inclusivity and, you know, just the way we treat people. I mean, you see it too often on the news. You know, it's language, it's tone, it's name calling, it's short fused tempers. And when, you know, the little things really matter, you know, opening the door for someone and saying, please, excuse me, thank you, random acts of kindness. It can start so small. And I mean, really, truly, you know, one drop is really all it takes to create that ripple. Mm-hmm. And, you know, hopefully if I did something kind for Jed and 2 other people, you guys pass it on to 3 people each, and boom, you know, all of a sudden we're skyrocketing. And,
yeah, I've had the pleasure of seeing this in action, and when you inspire kids to do those random acts of kindness, to stand up for each other, to, like you said, just hold the door open for somebody. What a difference it can make in a school.
Oh, 100%. And, you know, the kids feed off of it. And, you know, every other Wednesday I have a group of kids. We call it the Monday Kindness Crew, and they're 4th and 5th graders. They come in and we just do very simple things to make people's days better. Sticky notes with kind words. We chalk words. We hide kindness rocks. We bring around refreshment carts, do clothing donation drives for the needy, and, you know, hopefully they can just pass it on to a couple people. But it's there's just so much hatred in the world, and we're all the same, man. We just got to, you know, just navigate through this wonderful thing and work it together. And, you know, I make it sound so easy but it wasn't for me all the time. And just realizing it really just, it's so simple.
You know, you mentioned there's so much hatred and anger out there. And one of the things, if you're like me and you travel around the country talking to kids, you probably spend too much time in hotel rooms, and sometimes you don't have a lot to do. And that was the situation for me yesterday, and I just happened to turn the TV on here in the hotel, and Dr. Phil was on, something I never watched, but I was watching this one family, and there was this one family member was so angry and so hateful, and it turns out that she was just really scared and really hurt. And you know, one of the things that the wise Dr. Phil said is that, you know, anger isn't a true emotion. It's just a reaction to being hurt. Do you think that that's what's going on in this world? There's so many people out there that have been hurt, and they're turning that pain and hurt into anger?
100%. And, you know, in all the reading I do and working with all these different kids, you know, the hurt is just not uncovered. And, you know, everyone has a story. Jed's got his story. Jeff has a story. Gus had his story. But we don't take the time to figure out what the story is and to ask the why, and then also what can I do to help you? You know, maybe someone needs a hug or a kind word or some food or someone to listen to, or, you know, I mean, help me out. Like, that's what we don't do enough. We're too quick, and we think things can happen too quickly to fix. And instead of just asking, hey, what do you need? Because the angry, hurt kids are the ones that are going to have a hard time. And you look at unfortunately, our suicide rate between 10 and 17 years old now, it's just skyrocketed. And it's heartbreaking. Absolutely heartbreaking.
You know, the things that you're talking about take time. You know, there's no quick fix for the kid that comes into school and they're hurting. You know, I think it was Google today announced that they have this new quantum computer that was able to solve a problem that would normally take computers like over a year to figure out. But this one computer can do it, boom, like that. Well, humans aren't built like that.
No.
You know, and do you think it's maybe a product of the times that we're living in, that things happen so quickly. We have access to so much so quickly that we think that relationships should be the same way, and that we're not taking, and I'm not just talking kids, but adults with kids, kids with adults, we're not taking the time to find out what's really happening with each other.
Yes, for sure. I mean, you remember the dial-up modem days, right? Waiting to get online and a page to load. And now, if a page doesn't load in, 0.2 milliseconds, we get frustrated. And so look at our patience. We have no patience or time or understanding. It's just everything has to be so exponential. And but if you embed certain little things like kindness and empathy and compassion and love at the youngest kids and keep the small reminders very short and simple every day, then it's going to work. Do you remember Rachel Joy Scott from the Columbine massacre? There's a thing called Rachel's Challenge now.
I do remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, Rachel started this thing with the domino effect, and, people will never know how far a little kindness can go. And I just, that's always resonated with me since that had happened. And it's just, it has to be an important part of what we do raising kids. And because that's all we have. That's the hope. One of the saddest
thing and most perplexing things in my life, when my kids were in grade school, and I'm traveling around the country doing these anti-bullying shows, which morphed into, pro-respect. Instead of being anti-bullying, I was pro-respect. And that's where I'm at today. But while I was in doing this, and while my kids were in school, they were implementing an anti-bullying program at their school, and it was a private school. And so I went as a concerned parent, went to the meeting when they were talking about this, and wanted to be involved and be supportive. And it was great, and that the person who was speaking was wonderful. Her information was spot on. And one of the parents asked a question, and she said, well, you're saying that we're seeing girls becoming more aggressive and in the bullying more. Well, that must be they must be very, very unpopular right now. So why are they doing this if the kids aren't liking them? And the researcher or the person presenting said, gee, you know something? I guess logically you'd think that, but we're finding that those girls who are involved in that aggressive behavior, they're actually becoming more popular, and they're getting more power within the group. And at that point, the parents said, well, then why in the world would I want to discourage my daughter from doing that?
Ooh.
And I turned and I said, because it's wrong. Why do?
Yeah. Wow, dude, that's crazy.
Yeah, and this was it was a religious school, a school that was built, on the principles of love and kindness, and I was just, I was stunned, and I gave her that response, but it just blew me away.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just like, my jaw dropped, and I could only imagine being in there. But unfortunately, the way our headlines always show the horrors first, and the ugly politics from leaders in Washington and around the world, and the language they use, and I mean, if that's what our examples are going to be, it's really tough as school leaders and motivational kid leaders like you and people to really keep that cracking with our adults, right? But, we keep pushing and embedding it and not giving up. And then I think, I really do believe that kindness will win.
I absolutely believe that kindness will win. I had the pleasure a couple of times of interviewing Catherine Ryan Hyde, whose book Pay It Forward, was a catalyst for a lot of, certainly kindness was around before Pay It Forward, either the novel or the movie. But that was when it really became, right there in pop culture. And, it's just that message of that book is, if we could, just do a kind thing for one person, and that person goes off and does it for 2 more, and then 4 more, and it just like you said, that ripple can just spread out all over the world. And I really think it is happening, though. I mean, I think we're seeing that there's a lot of negative stuff, and we're seeing that the I'm not going to use the word clowns in Washington, because clown is a respected artist. That I happen to be a clown, and the people down in Washington, they're just not making good choices. But there are kids out there that are being kind, and I don't think that we're celebrating them enough.
No, definitely not. And, school-wide, myself and the other administrator and our teachers, we really focus on, we have positive office referrals and good news referrals. And, I want kids coming to my office to celebrate, not because they're in trouble, but, to make a phone call home to their parents and then to play a game or read a book or do something fun. But I mean, how cool is it when you're a parent that your kid is calling you from school, say, hey, I got sent to the office because I killed it today. I mean, you should hear these parents, man. They're so stoked. And it's like, oh, thank you. It's just like, no, thank you for raising such a great kid. And that's what we need to celebrate. And those kindness acts and those paying it forward, and our kids that are raising money and donating things. And, those are the kids we got to focus on.
I have not heard that practice being implemented in schools. I love that. My wife is a teacher in the Boston Public Schools, and she has a new piece of technology that she's been using the last couple of years that is really, really positive, where she has direct communication with the parents online, and she's using it to just post pictures just to the parents of, hey, this is what your kid's doing today, and this is pretty awesome. And it's really changed the dynamic of her classroom. And that when the parents are coming in, they're not coming in to speak to my wife with their fist up defensively. They're like, hey, you're my partner of raising my kid, and I want to talk to you about this because you're doing a great job with my kid. Are you seeing more and more schools doing this kind of stuff?
Yeah, I'm in a few principal groups, and, we use Voxer and Twitter, and there's a hashtag, good news call of the day and positive office referrals. But yeah, I mean, you're changing the culture when you're doing that. And if we're celebrating the teachers and the teachers are watching us celebrate the students, and then they're celebrating the students, the kids are going to go home stoked. And we want the kids to run back here the next day, not run away. And the more we can do that, the more it's going to turn things around. And that's how you build the culture. So the things your wife is doing is exactly it. I love, sharing amazing things all the time on social media from the school, kids doing this and that and holding up a big, positive office referral. But not enough happened. It's getting better, but it's not, I wouldn't say a common practice, but it's, I think, common around the principles that I am attached to, because we have a lot of the same philosophical foundations and things.
How do you think and again, I see this as I'm traveling around to different schools, mainly here on the East Coast. How did we get to the point where these really intelligent people, these really intelligent teachers and educators and leaders made everything so complicated that we forgot the simplest little lessons to teach our kids?
Well, I don't think we made things complicated, but we never changed. I mean, we're still industrialized education from the early 1900s. Mm-hmm. We are still an institution that is working the way it did 100 years ago, and that is not where we are. So with, self-driving cars and voice to, text to speech and all, these different things, we are on the gigabyte freeway, but we're still using, Fred Flintstone's slate. Mm-hmm. And, we have to change with what we're doing, or we're going to be in real big trouble. And so that goes with programs, that goes with accessing kids, engaging kids, and making lessons fun, but they also have to be relevant, because what our kids are going to do right now, the 10-year-olds, in 8 to 10 years, we have no idea. So we're training kids for something we don't know. We are not doing the job we need to be doing.
You know, you're absolutely right. I mean, when I was in elementary school, and you know, we were brought to school on horse and buggies and all that. And, you know, it was very pretty clear. Oh, you're going to grow up, and these are the kind of opportunities that are going to be available for you. Of course, podcasting wasn't dreamt of back then. But I mean, you're really hitting it out of the park, because we have absolutely no idea what kind of technology is going to be available to our kids in 5 years. I mean, you know, in some cases, 5 months from now, we don't know it's going to be available. And certainly not in 5. You know, those 10-year-olds that you're talking about, when they're 20, when they're 24 years old, graduating from college, the world is going to be a very different place.
100%. And it's just, you know, I have a 14-year-old and a 10-year-old at home, and you know, I want to prepare them for anything. And so I try to expose them to everything I possibly can. But who knows? You know, I'm not the savviest at everything. I just know I want my kids to be good people and be prepared for something unexpected. And that's all I can do.
And that's a really, really important point, because, you know, I've spoken in the different podcasts that I've produced, I've spoken to business leaders from all around the world. And the one thing that they have said to me is that the most important skill that a person can bring to a job is the ability to work on a team, the ability to get along with others, to work as a team. And they all say we can teach them the tech stuff, we can teach them how to operate the machines or run the programs or whatever it is they need to do within the company. But if they don't know how to get along with others, that's not something that we can teach them.
No, and I mean, you look at some of our, you know, the early leaders, you know, Henry Ford, and then you got, I mean, all sorts of people. We got, you know, Bill Gates and Steve Jobs, and you know, they had these amazing ideas, but they couldn't do anything by themselves. Mm-hmm. They had amazing teams around them. And when they didn't have an amazing team, they found amazing teams and they built them. And you have to be able to challenge each other in an empathetic way and just work together and do things unbelievably, because you have so many brains working together. And, you know, universal design thinking and, you know, just so many different things have to be present, but teams. It's all about working together.
Yeah. Well, I want to ask you, what can a family, beyond sitting down and reading One Drop of Kindness together, what can families do to kind of take this book and really make it integrated into their lives?
Well, you know, I'm really getting excited because November 13th is World Kindness Day. So, you know, on jeffkubiak.com, we have tons of free resources. My wife and I have put together lesson plans and videos and challenges and all sorts of cool things. And you know, we have, you know, t-shirts we sell at cost. We don't make any money in the book. You know, so all these different activities, but even in the book, there's challenges. And, you know, I think it's important. My family, the four of us, we eat dinner together every single night. Mm-hmm. And we read together, we play games together, and, you know, we go on walks together, but you have to connect in different ways. And so we laugh together, and, you know, playing board games are amazing. And so many people are like, what? I don't know how to play that. I'm like, come on. I mean, it's such an amazing connection, right? And so, you know, reading kindness books and silly books and dark books and, you know, whatever, just exploring together, you know, all that kind of stuff is what we need to be doing.
You know, that whole thing about eating dinner together, that is so incredibly important. And I think there's so many families that are missing out on that.
Yeah, I mean, come on, we got parents working 2 or 3 jobs. Mm-hmm. I have students at my school that do not see their parents except when they wake up quickly in the morning. They go home, mom or dad, maybe only one of them, is at one job, another job till midnight. They come home, they get a little bit of sleep, kiss their kid to go to school, boom, they get up and do it again. I mean, yeah, so I'm blessed, but it's important to me as a family guy, to, even if my kids have music and sports and homework, we eat together. Mm-hmm. And that's when we talk and laugh and hash things out and problem solve. But yeah, I mean, things are expensive. Life is tough and families are broken, like a lot of people. And it's just, it's heartbreaking, but I think those little kind of things make a big difference. Time together.
Absolutely. And when we practice those kindnesses together, and I think too, families need to sit down and parents need to sit down and decide what is most important for them, what they value the most. And I know every parent out there is feeling the pressure. I got to get my kid into the best college in the world, and that means I got to work myself to the bone to have that huge amount of money to send them to college. And it doesn't matter how much you save, you're not going to have enough money to send your kid to college.
No doubt.
It just gets worse. And at some point, we need to sit down and say, you know what? If my kid doesn't get into Harvard or Berkeley or Oxford, that's okay, because there are kids graduating from community colleges and state colleges, and they're doing great and they're happy. And it's more important for me to sit down and spend time with my kids and build that relationship.
Yeah, and what about the kids that don't want to go to college? So we still need tradespeople. Yes. We need plumbers. We need mechanics. We need kids that can code and invent and iterate and create. And we got to have everyone. And so I used to always think that, boom, it's college only, but it's not. It's mm-hmm. not for everyone, mm-hmm. but for the people that it is, it's great. Yeah. And I'm a huge proponent of junior colleges. I went to a community college myself, and I mean, shoot, the things you do your first 2 years, might as well do it there anyway at a very low cost, because it's really where you end your degree, not where you begin it.
Absolutely. Are you going to get in trouble for saying this in public?
No way, man. I tout this stuff all the time that, everyone's got a different path, man. That's what school's all about, navigating that path. And yeah, I want you to graduate high school, but you know what? After that, take some time and explore, and you'll come back and go to school if it's that big of a deal. Or, mm-hmm. you know what? Maybe you're inventing the flying car. I don't know, but, we have to be able to support and empower the kids to do what they want to do. Mm-hmm.
And I think the best way that we can get there is by doing things like we've been talking about tonight, by spending time eating with our kids and making sure we have that special time with our kids, by sitting down and talking to them about being kind to others. So very, very important.
Yeah, I mean, kids that talk to their parents have something like 40 to 50% less problems. So, less mental health issues and suicidal tendencies and drug problems and all these things, because they can be open and honest and really get deep into discussions. And time and values like that are so important. And it's all built upon, relational management within a family, kindness and empathy and manners and that kind of stuff we've been chatting about.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's why I started the Reading with Your Kids podcast, because I believe that those conversations that we're talking about, the conversations with our 10-year-olds about, the relationships that they're having in school, the conversations with our teenagers about healthy choices and being responsible behind the wheel, those conversations begin with our kids when they're sitting in our laps reading a board book together.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Goodnight Gorilla. That's my all-time favorite board book that I'll always remember. And I still see it once in a while. I was like, Braden, can I read this book with you? I was like, Dad. But I mean, yeah, those are the times right there.
Yeah. Man, I think we could talk forever, but we have lives to do, and I think that adding one drop of kindness to your family library is a great way to really enhance our families' lives. Remind everybody again where they can connect with you online, please, Jeff.
Thank you. So I have a website, jeffkubiak.com, and I'm on Twitter at Jeffrey Kubiak. Those are really my two main go-tos, and because my website, it's got my book, my blog spot, how to contact me, and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, the book's available on Amazon, and it's a blessing. Part of the mission is to give back, and very little proceeds go to me. I just trying to make this world a better place. So.
Well, when you think about it, if you make the world a better place, that's the best profit we can make.
Darn right.
Amen. We've had the pleasure of speaking to the author of One Drop of Kindness, Jeff Kubiak. Jeff, my friend, thank you so much for being on the show.
Honored, my friend. You are just phenomenal, and I love what you're doing. And let's keep reading to our kids and spending time with them, because that's all we got.
Please be sure to join us for the next edition of the Reading with Your Kids podcast. Our guest will be Trudy Krischer. She will be celebrating the re-release of her thought-provoking book, Spite Fences. We celebrated the fact that Terry Egan's book, The Adventures of Klaus the Happy Schnauzer, is our latest Reading with Your Kids certified great read. I bet you if you're the author of a children's book, especially a debut author, you're probably pretty surprised when you receive that author's copy before it was released to the general public. You got that first copy in your hand, and you said, "This is awesome," and then you found out that you are now the director of marketing for that book. You were the president of the marketing company for that book, and you thought to yourself, "Wait a minute, I'm an author. I don't know anything about marketing." Well, the reality is that if you are the author of a children's book, it is on you to market that book, to let the world know all about that book. And it can be really, really hard to do. Well, you don't have to do it alone. We can help you. The Reading with Your Kids Certified Great Read Program, it's a wonderful way to help your book stand out amongst the crowd of books that are released every single month. We have a panel of evaluators, their teachers, their kids, their parents, and if they believe that your book is worthy of 4 or 5 out of 5 stars, it becomes a certified great read. And with that status comes a number of fantastic tools to help you let the world know that your book is worthy of their consideration. Check it out today. Go to our website, readingwithyourkids.com. I want to thank the folks who made today's show so very, very wonderful. Jeff Kubiak. Be sure to check out One Drop of Kindness. I also want to thank my producer, Fatima Khan. Be sure to check out her blog at readingwithyourkids.com. I want to thank my beautiful wife for all of her support, and I want to thank you. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us today, and as always, thank you so much for taking the time to make the world a better place by reading with your kids. I'll be looking for you in the next edition of the Reading with Your Kids podcast.